you switch on your camera. Just switch off your cameras. We can start. No, that thing has got come. The screen has not. Good evening. This is Sudhir Mishra yet again in this Sudhir Mishra show. And today we have changed the format because this is the last episode of the year. And we have between us Miss Neelima Tripathi, Miss Malavika Trivedi, Mr. Pramod Dubey, and Dr. Anurag Batra and Jayant Mehta would be joining us a little later. So this is a very important day for me because all the senior advocates who are participating today are freshly minted senior advocates from Delhi High Court this year. It's a momentous journey they are going to start, and they all are impeccable lawyers, and they will take us to the journey, what has happened during the pandemic, how they have shaped up their entire practice in the pandemic, and what is in store in 2022. I welcome Neelima ma'am, Pramod sir, and Malvika for this show, Sudhir Mishra show. So I'll start with Ms. Tripathi. Ma'am, tell us your journey that you started. You were a chartered accountant, and like Harish Salve, who was also a chartered accountant, you started your practice as a chartered accountant. You became a lawyer. You have always been somebody who had a very principled practice, which is what everybody says. What is one thing which defines your journey as a lawyer?
Thank you, Sudhir. That's a very interesting question. In fact, it is the kind of question which sets me thinking about myself when you ask that question. Yes, you're right. I started my career as a chartered accountant. In fact, I practiced a couple of years before I shifted to this profession, and I'm very happy I did that. Yeah. In fact, I have also in the last few years diversified to teaching, and very happily so. It has given me not just a lot of pleasure and contentment. Connecting with students as something which has taught me a lot of things. So it has been a learning both ways. So far as you say, what has been the principal important thing? I would say the principal important thing is always trying to do the best for your client, which always is the purpose and is the job of a lawyer. It is my duty that I do the best for my client. At the same time, I have to also remember that I am also an officer of this court. So for me, balancing the two is the most important thing, and which is what I strive to do. I have been doing that. I've been trying to do that. I think we can never say we do that, but we try, we endeavor, and it shall always be my endeavor to do so.
Ma'am. So I'll just dedicate a very nice couplet of Sahir Ludhianvi for you. You'll like it. You know, because you read Urdu and you have a lot of interest in a lot of these fine things, languages.
Yes.
माना कि अभी तेरे मेरे अरमानों की कीमत कुछ भी नहीं. माना कि अभी तेरे मेरे अरमानों की कीमत कुछ भी नहीं. माटी का भी है कुछ मोल मगर इंसानों की कीमत कुछ भी नहीं.
वाह वाह.
इंसानों की इज्जत जब झूठे सिक्कों में न तौली जाएगी, इंसानों की इज्जत जब झूठे सिक्कों में न तौली जाएगी, वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी.
Wow. Yes, you are right. Absolutely.
And I know why I've recited this for you, because I've learned a lot, and something about you is very important in the course of the interview. We will talk about what are the upgrading skills the younger generation needs to take from people like you. Malvika, I'll come to you. You come from a very illustrious family of lawyers. Your both the sides, your father's side and mother's side, but you were not from a family which was practicing in Delhi. And Delhi was a new
Absolutely.
place for you. You graduated here, you did your law from Campus Law Center. And even if you had a background in law, unlike I think three of us who are here, you had a completely new invention, altogether new invention in Delhi, I would say. And that was something which I was not knowing when we were, uh, even if we were classmates, I was not aware that you have such a legacy. How much it has shaped you up, how much it is fundamental to you, and what is that core value system which you have learned from them.
Absolutely. I would be quite delighted to talk about it. And I'm very surprised that you are aware of my background in law because
And that too
not
after
many
28 years. That too after
yes,
28
yes.
years. Yeah.
Yes. So I do have a very, very strong background as far as my family is concerned in UP. But you're right, in Delhi, I absolutely had no links of that sort. I did have some links, but not of the kind I had in UP. But what my family actually taught me was having law in my veins. It completely was a part of my system, which when I started practicing law in Delhi, taught me how to make a matter alive. So research and analysis, thinking passionately and with zeal about matters, preparation, and most importantly, the art of advocacy, which is
Wow.
absolutely imperative for us to be persuasive in court. So I think as we grow, we imbibe a lot of values from our family system and from our surroundings. And I just felt that because over the years I had somehow unknowingly, my subconscious had grasped this, I could just completely transform this into my work in Delhi. So I think that has really helped me in shaping myself as a counsel, which I was even doing this sort of practice even before I was designated. I was for a long time doing counsel practice because for me, advocacy came with research, with preparation, with thinking about a matter. And that is what I think has helped me in good stead in my practice here in Delhi.
Wow. And the best part is that my sister was staying in your hostel in Meghdut. And I used to always
Okay.
see you. And Dr. Anurag Batra, thanks for joining the program. We are very grateful. And you are in the august company of three senior advocates, Malvika Trivedi ji, Nilima Tripathi ji, Prabodh Dubey ji. We'll come to you and talk to you about the legal trends which you have seen in the last 1 year and what you're going to foresee in 2022. Malvika, I have a Amrita Pritam recital for you. And also for the fact, why I'm reciting it, Nilima ma'am, that I know that this is a very deep meaning for you. स्त्री तो खुद डूब जाने को तैयार रहती है अगर समुंदर उसकी पसंद का हो.
Wow, wow, very nice.
So I really respect you and your husband, Saket Shukla. Saket is one of my dearest friends. He founded Phoenix Legal. And I have said it very brief, but this defines them, the kind of people they have grown with each other right from their teenage. That's what I'll say. Prabodh Dubey, sir, I have come to you. This is the inaugural round. And I'll ask you a question because you were expecting, you asked me also yesterday, what will be your questions? So I told you I didn't tell anybody my questions, but I'm going to ask you the first question, that you came from Champaran to Delhi to practice law. Rest in between journey, I'm not saying. Mahatma Gandhi practiced law in South Africa, went to Champaran. Okay. How do you define your journey? How do you define your journey from Champaran to being a senior advocate designated from Delhi High Court? Or before you reply, just to relax you, I'll recite a small one for you. हजरत जॉन इलिया बोलते हैं, अभी मत दीजिए जवाब कि मैं झूम तो लूं अपने सवाल पर.
वाह.
बोलिए.
it is not like that I travel Delhi from Champaran to start my practice. It has some brief history.
Correct.
And you are also from Bihar and you started your education from the North Bihar. So you know what kind of the education we got while sitting under the tree in the open area. And when we came to city, nearby city in class 6, 7, then we came across the concept of this English, because we were under impression that Hindi is English. So that kind of the background I had. I have the science background. I completed my BSc Electronics, and I was in Delhi for my father's medical treatment. So I lost my father in 1991 in Delhi Safdarjung Hospital. And during his cremation, it was discussed among some relatives that I should shift to Delhi. So I came in Delhi in September 1991. I was completely blank what I'm going for Delhi. And I started my preparation for civil services and some competitive exam, because I was in need of services at that time. And during that preparation, I was advised by some of my friends to join the law. And I entered into the competitive examination conducted by Delhi University. I got admitted in CLC, and then my journey started. One thing is very important, Sudhir. After completion of my LLB, I was also clueless. What should I do and where is my journey? My situation was like a medical representative who is standing on a chauraha and is completely dumb which direction he should proceed. But I'm grateful to my teacher, Professor B.B. Pandey. He gave me some encouragement, and it is Mr. B.B. Pandey's basically entire effort. I decided to start my practice in Delhi, because I was not able even to find out a senior in Delhi. So slowly, I started. I was not knowing I'm going to join Delhi High Court or the trial court or the Supreme Court, whether I'm going to start my practice in criminal side or civil side or matrimonial side or corporate side. It is, I can say, these all are the destiny. And destiny brought me in Delhi, and I'm very thankful to Delhi High Court, who gave me the recognition by designating me as senior advocate.
So the idea was, Pramod sir, that your journey from Champaran to Delhi is momentous journey. You are a proud student of Campus Law Center, and we all have been seeing your journey for 22 years. Personally, I have been seeing. And this is the reason why we will ask the recipe of success today, that what are these hard notes which you have cracked and how you have walked this path. This is something which we'll talk later. We'll talk later in the next round, Pramod sir. We'll talk later in the next round. But thank you. Nilima ma'am, what is the change you have witnessed from 1991 to 2000, the kind of lawyers you have seen doing well, and the kind of lawyers who are doing well now? And what is changing in the legal practice and how fast it is changing?
I would say the practice change. No, what kind of change are we really talking about in terms of quality?
We are talking in terms of quality and in terms of preparation, in terms of the traits which make you successful.
I see. Oh, okay. So I would say the quality has certainly improved in my thinking. People work very hard because it is not a profession which is forgiving. If you don't work, it takes you nowhere. There is no option but to work. And I think people are aware of that. They not just keep long hours. There is quality time dedicated for research work, for all kind of works, for strategizing, for planning, for thinking, the approach, everything. And not only that, the matters are of such magnitude and size that most of the time one has to work as a team. So that is another aspect. So people learn to work as a team. Law firms, I would say, have contributed in a major way towards that, because they have the resources, the manpower, and everything to be able to handle matters of that magnitude. So I would say it has moved in a positive direction. it has, in fact, if I look at the newspaper, I don't think there is any day when at least some part of the front page of the newspaper is not covered with some important legal case or legal news. So law is a very important part of our lives. A lot of very important decisions which affect the society, which affect the nation as a whole also at times, are being taken in the courts, getting decided in the matters which are being heard and argued. And therefore, I would say that it has come to be even more important than it ever was before.
Yes. Malvika, coming to you, one is the fact that there are only 6 senior advocates who are designated out of more than 50 by Delhi High Court, but it's a welcome thing. And you, in fact, said somewhere that it's a starting. There'll be more who will be joining this group, and there'll be more women who will be prominent in the legal practice. But what is the journey like in last 20 years? What are the areas you focused that in a time bound manner, I would call it a time bound manner, in a way you work very hard for it and you're very focused about it. But what is the secret of your success to come and become a Delhi High Court senior advocate? What is the tough part of the journey?
I'll tell you. I think, firstly, I want to just add a little bit of twist in your question, because I think nobody at any point of time can say that they are successful. It's a very continuous thing. So we will continue to quest for success, and eventually, every day that you succeed is a welcome day for you. But saying that, I would say in my more than 20 years of this journey, one thing that has not changed, hard work. I feel that the focus, the concentration that a lawyer requires is absolutely imperative for this job. And the only thing that can never change or can never be substituted is hard work. People can keep expecting that there will be minimum work and maximum output, but as far as our profession is concerned, this sort of commitment to our matters, our clients, our work has to be there. And I think that has actually helped all of us who are here in staying on track, staying focused, and doing our work day in and day out. I still tell the younger people that please do not expect any office hours in this profession. There are no office hours. You have to work 24/7, all days of the week. You have to be answerable to your client or to your briefing lawyers. You have to make sure that you have a solution-oriented approach for your clients. The approach is not absolutely that I am a lawyer, I have to just do my work and go home. But you have to, as a lawyer, give some sort of a solution, solve your client's problem. And that is what I think has really helped me in growing in my clients and in the other lawyers briefing me, in earning their trust in me. Because they know that if we take a matter to these lawyers, they will prepare, they will give us answers, they will probably prepare better than us. And of course, the other most important thing, which of course comes under hard work, is reading, reading, and reading.
Yes.
That is extremely important. And the change, of course, as we all know, the digital world that has opened up for us, that is the biggest change. And of course, the younger generation is way better versed in that. So which again, I think is reducing the physical footprint is excellent. And then, I mean, later in this roundtable conference, if we discuss, then we can discuss more aspects of what that change is all about.
Yeah. Pramod sir, one of the things which people had asked me to ask you was that criminal law is a practice where there's no work-life balance, and sometimes people also feel that it's a very tough practice. You need a lot of mental preparation to be a good criminal lawyer. So if you really talk about your journey as a lawyer who focuses a lot on criminal law practice, now you're a senior advocate, you will do all kinds of matters. But as a criminal lawyer, how will you train yourself to become a good criminal lawyer?
First, I would like to say, Sudhir, I'm not a criminal lawyer. I'm the lawyer for criminals.
Yes.
Practicing in the criminal side.
Sorry.
Lighter side. I'm saying lighter side.
No, I know. They call me an environmental lawyer. तो मुझे भी लगता है कि यहाँ flowers आ गए हैं, but I can't do much about it.
Sudhir, I have a benefit of being the student of science, especially the electronics, and mathematics was my favorite subject. So I always find this criminal practice is nothing but a mathematics and analytical discussion and analogy. So if you are practicing in the criminal side, the fun in the criminal side, then the climax of the practice is the cross-examination. If you are practicing in the criminal side and you have not done any criminal cross-examination in your career, I would say you have not completed your journey. Merely practicing in the appellate side, that's not the satisfaction. You can make a lot of money and the name, fame, but the real thing is the cross-examination. And the cross-examination, the basic requirement in the cross-examination is you must be master of the facts and the master of the law. And you must be knowing what is the purpose of the cross-examination of the witnesses. So in criminal practice, your mind should be so sharp. You have to balance 3-4 things. First, you are as good as your last performance. If you are fail to perform, your client is not going to retain, because no one like to volunteer himself to become the member of the club Tihar. So you are accountable to your client first. Second, you have to satisfy the judicious conscience of the judge in a span of time.
Yes.
Because you don't have much to argue. Third, you have to balance your opposite side. And there must be clarity in your case, in your brief and your argument. And you must be knowing the court craft, which Malvika has rightly mentioned. The court craft plays a major role in the criminal practice, because you must be knowing where you have to start, where you have to stop, what is to be asked. You must be knowing at which station, which gear you are going to put your train.
Yeah.
And what will the speed. You read the mind of the judge, be eye to eye with the presiding officer, and then you start your argument, and as per the code, you turn your argument. So you should so prepared that you can go turn the argument in different direction. So you should be so analytical in the mind that you have the answer to the every query.
Wow.
And that is the success in the criminal.
Very good. And on this, I have to dedicate you a small nazm for you, because you are like this. आँखों में पानी रखो, होठों पे चिंगारी रखो, जिंदा रहना है तो तरकीबें बहुत सारी रखो.
Wow.
You exactly said the same thing.
Well said. Thank you, Sudhir.
Acha, coming back to you, Nilima ma'am.
Yes.
I have to ask you a few things. You became a senior advocate, and then from being a counsel, independent counsel, representing so many public sector undertakings, also the government. When you become a senior advocate, what is the code of conduct which actually changes? A lot of people don't understand that. That is one thing. And the second part is, how will you tell your clients who were earlier directly interacting with you? And it's a very sensitive thing. And a lot of people ask these things. Why can't I talk? Like, as a person who runs a law firm, lot of my clients say, why can't we talk to the senior advocate directly? So I want your views on this. What are the code of conduct? And this will be clarified for everybody's purpose. Dr. Batra, welcome you back.
Thank you so much. The
Yeah.
vagaries of technology, I'm on the road and I had to log off from one device to log on from another one.
Yeah. Okay, we'll come back to just now. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I would say, Sudhir, that's again a very interesting question. I must say you pull the best out of us. Your questions are so crafted that you get the best out of us. See, I would say that as a senior, it is absolutely necessary. Okay, first of all, you said dealing with clients directly. Yes, I was doing that before. But fortunately for me, I was doing it not so much because I had already, I was still filing, yes. but very selectively. In most of the cases, I was not. So to that extent, that role had been more or less over. But having said that, I still was doing it. Now I feel that when I conduct myself, it is important that I absolutely make sure that the law firms do not in any manner feel that they are being bypassed in any manner, or even I would say that it is important that all my instructions are coming only from them. That is very, very important. And not just that, I would also say that conducting myself, when you say that, it also means that I am devoting myself fully and solely to the case preparation in a manner that what is it that I have to argue? What is it that I can do best for the case? So the approach also to some extent changes to that extent.
It's a very, very delicate thing. I'll go to
Yes.
Malvika also on the same issue, because, for us, it's so important when there is a lot of pressure, and I'm now going on the meaty part of this discussion with senior advocates, that as a law firm, if I have to engage a particular senior, a lot of pressure is there that you get XYZ as a senior advocate. And sometime as a firm, we are comfortable with a senior advocate. And a lot of time, these issues also come to the mind of a law firm or a briefing counsel or a partner of a law firm, that such a senior advocate somehow will say something which actually creates a negativity in the mind of the client also. Like, for example, this has happened to me almost 17 years back. And I always realized that this is something I must say, I've never said. So there was this particular senior advocate. We were briefing him on a particular issue because somebody suggested he has to be briefed. And we briefed him, but he openly said that your drafting is trash and your drafting is very bad. And my clients were sitting there. I was just 3-year-old in profession. And it's not that I lost the client, I lost my confidence also for a few months. And this is something I have seen the kind of senior advocates I work with, the way they nurtured us. So even law firms are actually nurtured, or the counsels are nurtured by senior advocate. What do you see this whole phenomena?
So this is very interesting. As you know, we are all still growing in this particular direction. But one very important thing is, of course, being dignified at all times, which I think necessarily comes with this new role in court and out of court. And of course, one thing that I have noticed, which has always helped me, is being very positive in a matter, because I feel every matter has two aspects to it. Of course, we know, because two sides are arguing that matter. So every matter has two sides.
Yeah.
So to be negative or to bring down anyone, it just doesn't help a matter.
Yes.
In fact, the work gets reduced, the time spent on the effective merits of the matter gets reduced, the application of law, so many other things are required.
Yes.
Other thing which I think has really helped me, the number 3 thing in this, which sometimes becomes the number 1, is to be able to help the people who brief me, to help them last minute. I think, which is very important for young senior advocates, to be able to take a brief last minute, to be able to prepare overnight and to deliver in court the next day. I think this was taught to us when we were extremely young in the profession. And I had, of course, started my practice with the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And it was always very, very pressurizing and sometimes very difficult. We would get the files late in the night or sometimes early in the morning. And you had to very quickly prepare matters and deliver. There was no time to criticize or to comment or to do anything.
Correct.
I think that has really helped. And the other thing that Nilima ma'am also talked about, I think as senior advocates, we have to keep our brains uncluttered.
Yes.
Can't get into so many issues, and especially with the pressure from the client. So all that has to be done away with, completely uncluttered, focused, concentrate, increases your memory. Memory is extremely important for lawyers. And that is what ultimately helps you in delivering.
So,
and that is important.
Thank you. Dr. Batra, I'm coming to you. I know it's your signal had an issue. Before I invite you, I want to recite something by Imrose. Amrita Pritam keeps on talking about Imrose. So, Umar chahe koi bhi ho zindagi mein. Dr. Batra, are you hearing me? Yeah.
उम्र
Umar
चाहे
chahe
कोई
उम्र
भी हो,
चाहे कोई भी हो जिंदगी में, मन चाहे रिश्ते अपने आप ही हम उम्र हो जाते हैं.
क्या बात है.
So this is actually the anti of the concept कि after 20-25 years you don't make new friends. I and you met when I think we both were in 40s and you are still in 40s. So tell me, what do you think about the whole legal sector? You have been meeting everybody from judges to law ministers, managing partners, senior advocates. In last 1.5 years, you have really invested a lot of time with the legal fraternity. What is your how they responded to the pandemic and how they will respond in 2022?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much. It's been a privilege to have you host the show on the BW Legal World platform. And, of course, I had the good pleasure of meeting Nilamaji, good pleasure of getting the counsel of Mr. Dubey and his kindness in more than multiple occasions. Today, I've made the acquaintance of Ms. Malvika Trivedi. So clearly, I can say that, first of all, let me tell you in my little bit interaction with lawyers and legal professionals, they're normal people. Like some people may like to believe journalists and media people are not normal, but they're normal too. So they have the same aspirations, the same professionalism, the same human values as others. The nature of profession is such uh, that they need to, and I would divide it separately into judiciary, in law firms, and senior advocates. Of course, GCs would be another discussion by itself. I think what has happened is that they've reinvented themselves very fast because of the virtual courts. They realized that they could do multiple matters on a day and prepare for it. And you have to be more prepared. From what I've learned from you and other friends is that if you are doing a virtual hearing, you have to be actually, because the window that you have to be able to present your case is smaller. So first thing is I saw legal professionals really upping their game and adapting to the new normal or the new abnormal. Second is I think technology is impacting every business. It is impacting litigation. So understanding technology nuances, because lots of things that came up in terms of issues was came up for the first time. There was no precedent. So to be able to study that in detail, so lawyers are the ultimate students. They continue to upgrade themselves, these skills themselves. Third, I would say is I would say that in my interaction with very large firms, mid-sized firms, and smaller firms, that no longer the business can be taken for granted by law firms. Law firms have to work at it. They have to do business development. They have to build their knowledge practices. They have to be aggressive in the marketplace because there's too much competition. The entrepreneurial energy that is in law firms is making sure law firms are splitting. So clearly they have to, law firms have to try harder to generate business at every level. I would end by saying that you started with the quote. I would see it as reverse mentoring. While people like you and me have a lot to offer to others, to young people, I think if we need to stay relevant, we have to learn from younger people. The process of reverse mentoring is equally important as the process of mentoring. And let me say that in my view, I work very hard. I keep myself busy. I believe that I get my most creative ideas when I'm doing nothing, when I have a light schedule, when I'm at, rest, and that is on a Sunday or a Saturday or when I'm in a flight. So I want to give you a share, really, because I want to be that person who does nothing. When I do nothing, I'll create more, you know. So I just want to say, बिठाकर यार को पहलू में रात भर गाले, जो लोग कुछ नहीं करते कमाल करते हैं.
Wow.
So spending time with friends, and really, you can only spend time with friends if you're relaxed. And trust me, in a stressful world, being relaxed is the ultimate wealth. It's not
I have
money.
I have to ask you one thing before you go, because then we'll continue with our conversation. What is one thing which you don't want to learn from lawyers in legal community?
I don't know. I mean, it's not, can't journalize. you can't generalize, but I don't know. I mean, don't learn negative. Fortunately, and I'm not a diplomatic person,
Good.
my interactions with the lawyers and legal professionals have been good for me in every way. So I only have gratitude, and I look forward to meeting that limited number of people I do. But I can tell you the one thing I definitely want to learn. I used to think I went to a business school and then came to the media business. I think I know a lot about a lot of things, but I met young lawyers who have so much knowledge about sustainability, about venture capital, about NFTs. So, one thing I must tell you that we can learn from lawyers is that they make it a point to learn about new domains and their intersection with business and their intersection with compliance. So that's one thing I've seen in the last 4 or 5 interactions where I've met some very eminent lawyers, that their knowledge of every aspect is so deep. If not deep, it is substantial. Let me say that. And I think that's what I can't think of. I don't like to stereotype. I've been at the receiving end of kindness. So I only have gratitude. I won't like to generalize any point.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Batra. And I'll come back to you if you're there. Going back to Pramod sir again. And Pramod sir, I have to ask you a very important thing. That tell us your normal routine as a lawyer. What is your daily routine as a lawyer? And what is your definition of work-life balance? ये work-life balance बहुत लोग बात करते हैं. And I remember Ram Jethlani once famously said that, what is this work-life balance? You work harder, your balance will come. So what is your definition of work-life balance? What is your typical day? What is your working routine? How will you, what is your repetition process in entire preparation?
So let us start with my preparation. I do my preparation well in advance because the kind of the work I'm doing and the nature of the work I have the client in, I need sufficient time to develop my argument and do some research work. So I do the preparation well in advance, number one. Number two, I'm a lawyer only in my office. The moment I leave my office, my mind starts working in the legal field. I don't work, it's my personal life. I do my personal things.
Right.
And I always develop this habit from my senior to be in the court well within the time. So in my 26 years of career, I never been late in any of my matter. And I have the experience of appearing all the district courts, High Court and the Supreme Court in one day. I have done so many times. I started my day from Saket, then to Dwarka, then to Rohini, then to Tisjari, Kakarduma, Patiala House, High Court and Supreme Court. So I have the time management and I read the file only once. I don't read the file so several times. If I have read the file 5 years back or 10 years back, I don't need to refresh my memory. Everything is my mind. I don't prepare so many notes. I prepared very small notes to argue the matter. And I start my day around 9:15 because I have to reach in so many courts. I have the mixed kind of the practice, High Court, Supreme Court, tribunals, and some economic offenses in the trial court also. And I have to be there well within time. So I am very particular in my preparation. I don't compromise because I've been taught you should be thorough with your brief.
Very good.
And I've been also given the lesson, don't compromise in your brief. I will just share one of my experience.
Yes.
When my daughter Prachi, she born in 1999 on 4th Jan. And on 10th Jan, after doing the rituals of Chatti, I was told I have to visit Bangalore. And she was in Gandmul Nachatra. So there was a 27 days of being the Brahmin. That ritual was common in our family. There was a puja after 27 days. I went to Bangalore in classic and computer matter. And on 26th, evening of 26th, I made a request to my senior, sir, I have to be there for my puja. I said, if forget the puja, first give the importance to your client. Wow. I made a lot of requests. Then there was substitute went there, and then I flew down on the very first day. And the same day, I again went back to Bangalore. So this kind of the training I have got.
This is the work-life balance.
This is the working style. You have to be honest with your brief.
Yes.
And 3-4 things which basically affected my career. First thing, one should always loyal to his chamber. Number one. Number two, honest. Your integrity must be intact. And there must be honesty, because in the criminal practice, you'll get so many opportunities to compromise with your integrity. So you have to be honest. And you should be friendly with your colleagues, because your entire research and the preparation is based on your team.
Yes.
So if your team is not giving you the entire assistance and the full assistance, alone you can't do anything.
Yes.
So you have to believe in a teamwork.
Thank you.
And you have to encourage your team and have the confidence and faith in your team.
Great.
This is I have learned.
Wonderful, Pramod sir. Nilima ma'am, we are just on the final minutes now. Tell us that what are the soft skills play a role in legal profession? I will say that they are not deliberate in nature. You can't just inculcate one fine morning. And you know what I'm saying, like your love for Urdu, there are senior advocates who have the ability to create a very calm atmosphere in the court with one burst of laughter. Like they will say something and the whole court will become like, it will become a very different place from a very tense place. How will you inculcate these qualities from a very young age as a lawyer? And how much you should read beyond law? And this is something which I think is very important for the younger generation to imbibe.
No, you are absolutely right. In fact, I would say this again falls as a part of work-life balance.
Yes.
Why? Because while it is important that you work hard as a lawyer, it is equally important that you nurture your hobbies, and as you rightly said, reading skills, travel plans, all kinds of things which add to completing you as a person, completing your life. So while you are balancing everything, you're working hard, but at the same time, not burning yourself out.
Right.
Giving time to your hobbies, giving time to develop yourself as a overall person who has, as you rightly say, something cited recited in the court can actually make the atmosphere light. Yes. And when you are not being able to carry the point through, the point is then carried through.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. And that can come only when you are well-read, when you have hobbies, when you have interest in all spheres of life. So I say, as you Mr. Dubey rightly pointed out, work-life balance is absolutely important. And therefore, while you work hard, you should also not burn yourself out doing just that. You should allow other things also to help you develop yourself as a person.
So I heard this in Himachal High Court in 2007-8. We were doing a matter there, and Amrita Pritam was recited virtually every day, like a precedent.
I'm sure.
And then I asked, where did this originate? So I was told both Lahore and the Punjab High Court, both, it was very common for the senior advocates or the advocates to talk, and suddenly the whole court will say, yeah, that's a very sensitive thing, and everybody is distracted and they are more focused on the real thing which comes to. तो इसमें एक मैंने जो सुना था उस पीरियड में, वो अभी सुना रहा हूं. जिंदगी तुम्हारे उसी गुण का इम्तिहान लेती है जो तुम्हारे भीतर मौजूद है. मेरे अंदर इश्क था.
वाह.
अमृता प्रीतम.
Sudhir bhai, I want to ask you a question. What is this lawyers and shairi?
I don't know, sir, but I see all the highly paid lawyers in the Delhi High Court and the Supreme Court keep on reciting shairi in the court matters. So why can't I do it in my show?
No, I'm not. It makes it more.
Of course, you're not paying me for that. That's a different issue, but I do my preparation well on that. They are paid heavily. So no, it's something to do. I think it's very natural. It has some binding effect. I don't know what is that binding effect. Last words from both Malvika and Pramod ji. Malvika, what is your one suggestion to younger generation, and especially women lawyers? You are very passionate about them getting into better situations and do wonderful. You said a lot of my colleagues will follow this path. What is your one suggestion? What is one disruptive suggestion you want to give?
I was just hearing this discussion on work-life balance, and unfortunately, I'm not from the same school of thought, because as just now you quoted Mr. Jethmalani, and I feel that first you have to have your work balance, not just life balance, which a lot of youngsters are doing nowadays. I think it's very, very important to recognize that law and medicine are two professions where you 24/7 think about either your client or your patient. So you have to actually read. I agree with the reading of literature, as everybody said here. That's very important. I don't actually, I have no cavil with that. But as far as thinking about your matters is concerned, that is non-stop. Whether you are in office, whether you're outside, whether you are meeting anyone, the brain doesn't stop working. And that I think is very important. And especially if now we are in a position where we are talking about arguing and advocacy, you have to know how to place your matter, how to strategize it, what to say, when to say. The losing, of course, can happen. There's no dispute with that. But how you should try, and even in a bad matter, try and win a case. So these are extremely important facets which never go out of your mind. It's a thinking profession. How can you stop thinking? So therefore, to that extent, I feel that as a lawyer, especially the younger generation, I am not distinguishing men, women, everyone. They have to realize that your matters almost become your life. And you don't have to stop doing that. These are the very formative years for them. They have to do that. And I think when they start actually seeing that sort of passion in law, the zeal and the enthusiasm that they develop for law, there is no stopping them. Then ultimately, they will succeed. That is what I have complete faith in that.
Well said. Pramod sir, I have a question for you from one of the participants, and I'm just reading that question. What is the advice for young counsel in the field of criminal law?
Sudhir, there are 2-3 things which are very important. First, there must be the patience, because in criminal law, you cannot get the success and become the good criminal law in short span of time. The second thing, must carry the confidence, because in criminal law, barring the local police, if you coming across the cases which are being investigated by the specialized agency like the CBI, Enforcement Directorate, SFIO, NIA, you'll prima facie find foolproof case. So you must carry the confidence. Don't lose your confidence. Start reading the file time and again, and you'll find the way how you'll defend your client and what would be your defense. The third thing, very important thing, is you must be courteous, because in criminal law, 90% your practice is depend upon the discretion of the court. So always be humble with the court and the courteous with your senior, with your colleagues, your clients. And don't become money-minded. And the most important, nevertheless, the last thing is introspection. Every day you do your introspection, because nobody is your competitor. You are competing yourself. So in the night, whenever you are going on bed, just do the introspection, ki what wrong, what right you have done, and how you improve yourself. Like the moment you are doing the cross-examination, after finishing the cross-examination or making the argument before the court, you come out from the court premises, immediately you realize, no, I would have asked this question. I would have not asked this question. I would have not argued in this particular way. So your personal experience, personal conduct is teaching you. Wow. And always try to become, in criminal law, always try to become lawyer for mass. Spread yourself and always be humble with your legal community. Take the brief. Don't be money-minded. Even you are getting the opportunity to appear in the matter as a pro bono counsel. Never be hesitant. Always do some services for the society and the people who cannot afford a good criminal lawyer and good senior lawyer. One thing I would like to mention, Sudhir, which you have asked from Nilimaji regarding the inter-se relation between the senior counsel, and you also explained your experience with one senior counsel. I would like to mention here, you are a senior counsel, so you are being treated as a jurist. So if the junior counsel is going to you and briefing you, he's going with expectation that you are going to put some new ideas, you are going to give some new thoughts and the new pleadings. So you always be open, rather criticizing your briefing counsel or instructing counsel to make some addition. And just you don't make the waiting only for the sake of waiting and putting the red ink in the draft of your briefing counsel to discourage the briefing counsel. So you always encourage your briefing counsel. And you always be ready, that like Ms. Trivedi, Malvika Trivedi has mentioned, you will get the last moment, the brief, and you always be ready for the last moment. I will just share my experience. After my designation, one of my briefing counsel called me, sir, are you available tomorrow? There is a Supreme Court matter. I said, I don't have the time. I went there. I attended. When I was on my way to my office on Barapulla, he said, sir, have you finished your matter? I said, yes. So can you appear in the matter today? Okay, what's your item number? It's a 28. Which item is going on? 22. So I took a risk. I said, he sent the brief. So he sent the brief. He sent the software, a soft copy of the brief. I started reading in my car. The moment I reached my office, the item number 24 was going on. He made a request, sir, should I take a password? I mean, no, wait. At item 26, I was well prepared with the brief. And I argued at the first count and I got the relief. I got the brief.
Wonderful. Wonderful,
so sir. You should also develop this kind of the skill in last moment, emergency, because I just saw my senior people used to engage in and even engaging during in the corridor. So you should be ready, being the senior counsel, you are being the jurist, to appear in the court if you are getting the brief in the corridor. Thank you so much, Sudhir.
Wonderful. We are absolutely out of time, and I thank Nilima ma'am, Malvika ji, and Pramod sir, all three of you, and Dr. Anurag Batra, that this was such a splendid discussion, such an open discussion. And for the legal community, all the episodes are now on YouTube. We can watch it. And my suggestion is that this is like a continuing legal education and also a soft dose of soft skills. And it's a great service. Thank you all for coming here and being part of the show. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, Sudhir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sudhir, and the business world legal and Dr. Anurag Batra and his team, and especially to Nilima ji and Malvika Trivedi. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabodji. Thank you, Nilima ma'am. Thank you.